What's going on, world? This is C. Moody, and this is Common Insight. Today, I just want to stretch more of an idea across in the midst of this whole situation with the protest of the flag and battling on both sides. So I'll get into it. Let's go. So what's going on, world? Like I said, today, I really just got an idea about what this whole protest has been about. And not really more so an idea adding on to the protest, but I found something that is very similar to it. So I'm going to try and put this all together and hope it makes sense. So for the NFL, starting with, I want to say last year with Colin Kaepernick, he began kneeling during the national anthem, the presentation of the American flag, and in his protest, which in today we have totally disregarded the purpose of it. He expressed how the country, the same country that is being represented by this anthem and this flag, is not upholding the purpose of this country, of this great nation. And that was in the lieu of all this racial injustice between black citizens and white authority. We saw a lot of innocent killing in this last couple of years. Beginning, the first one I can remember is, of course, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile. I don't want to mess up anybody's names. Those are the two main ones I can remember, but we all know that those weren't the only ones. And so he chose to kneel for those reasons, that nobody was being punished in the midst of these innocent killings. There was no justice served for the people in the protection of the authority, no matter how bigoted these authority figures were. And not only that, he also spoke on behalf of the veterans that are being mistreated, after serving their country, and which is true. Is something that we overlook as well. We ignore the fact that there's so many homeless and impoverished and struggling veterans, and we kind of just throw them aside as if they didn't just fight for our country, risk their lives for this country. But yet, when we argue now about these people in the NFL that kneel for the flag, we go about saying that we're disrespecting the flag and the people that served it, which, like I said, we turn a blind eye to those who are really struggling now, that did fight for the country and have no honor shown to them now outside of them being labeled a soldier. There's nothing for them, and some are even forced to the part of being homeless, and it's a tragedy. It truly is. As well as this racial injustice that is continuing to go on, because now in the midst of this arguing, as we lose the true connotation of why Colin Kaepernick initially was drawn into the media, the spotlight put on him, I guess you would say, because of his protest. Now it's just about, are we disrespecting the flag, or are these people, disrespecting the country? Pretty much the flag. That's what it comes to now, where we've gotten to the point where we're just saying these people are disrespecting the flag. And it really bothers me that we are so angry about people disrespecting a flag, as people call it, but not wanting to do anything about the reason that these people are kneeling for the flag. Because these people who are kneeling for the flag is doing it to say that, hey, this country has some guidelines and some rules, constitutions, and rights that is not abiding by. We as the American people aren't abiding by these rules, these guidelines, but we're scrutinizing the people who kneel for kneeling because they are trying to put attention on it. And it's a shame that we would rather people disregard the things that are wrong in this country than for them to be public and express the wrong that's going on in this country, especially if they're on a high enough platform to be seen by it, which is a lot of even more racial difference and division has come because people are angry because these are black, well, some of them millionaires, but these are black professional athletes who are getting paid well above, the majority of us, which is rightfully so because they are, like putting their bodies on the line for entertainment, honestly. Of course for them, they hold a lot of things that they get. They do, receive plenty of things by being a part of this professional league, the NFL. But, now I've heard a lot of stuff about people saying that they aren't grateful enough, or it's a privilege for them to be able to play the sport in this country, and then for them to disrespect it. But it's not like, they're running out on the field and taking shots at the flag or anything. They're just saying that this country isn't abiding by the rules that it claims that it upholds. The flag is supposed to uphold this liberty, freedom, justice. And it really in the country is not doing that. But now we're more angry at the fact that these people are being figures to represent that our country is not doing that. So, but I digress. My purpose isn't just to talk about this, but in the midst of me seeing all of that, I realize that the American flag is not the only thing that has been idolized and worshipped. And I say that because, like I said, we are, worshiping the flag because we are drawing hostile to anybody that we feel offends the flag without doing anything about the representatives of the flag that offends its own people. That, is it's really bad, and it's really sad that a lot of us will choose to be so blind on this situation. But the other thing that has been idolized in America, because I don't know about anywhere else in the world, is the Christian cross. And I really needed to speak about this once I put the two and two together, put this connection together. That, a lot of us people who claim to be Christians will be the main ones to go out and, talk bad about the people who are in the world. I kind of have even looked at people who wear the cross, like rappers or stuff, or, who claim to be Christian in general, but just don't do it or whatever. And, people will look down on them. We're quick to defend the cross against anybody who was against the religion in general, atheism, other religions in general. We're quick to bash anybody to say that this is the key religion, or this is the way to go and stuff like that. But the people who are claiming to be within it are not living by its guidelines. And that is something that equally needs to be addressed. And I think it's really an importance for me to share this thought, and I hope to have a more in-depth message about this in later times. I'm really just coming off the ideas that's been in my heart about it. I plan to write it down, maybe a blog or some kind of random article or about it. But we all claim to be Christian, and we try to put so much pride in it, in being a Christian. We put so much pride in the cross and what it is, but we don't live by it. We don't live by what the Word, the Bible, the guidelines are written out to us. We don't live by it. But we are, always on end, arguing on behalf of it, or feeling like it gives them the right to scrutinize and demean anybody who has opposing ideas. And the cross is, the main thing that, albeit is so much injustice within that society, that religion, this religion, we are quick to want to show it. We want to wear the symbols of Christianity. We have everybody, you can see, even some of the like big preachers or certain preachers, they wear, cross necklaces, cross chains, pendants, Jesus pieces, I guess, which is odd, but that's another situation. Everybody has a certain type of cross or a fish symbol, on their car, on their shirt, on their person, even, tattooed. And the same goes for the American flag. There's people who get the American flag tattooed on them. We have it on our cars. We have it on we wear clothes that has the American flag on it. We do all these things, but both of them equally are something that we want to be the representation of it without abiding within the purpose of it. And both things need to be addressed. Both of these things needs to happen. It needs to abide by its rules, its guidelines. The reason we have, so many people now that are against the flag is because there's people now who see the hypocrisy in it. They see the people who are saying we're American, we uphold this justice and liberty, but they aren't living by it, and they're going the exact opposite of it. And they're being bigots, racists, all these things, saying that, we don't have this right to do so, this right to do whatever. And it's acknowledged. That's really the main thing, that this hypocrisy is shown. And the same thing with Christians. Christians are supposed to be this loving, unified, peaceful thing. But we have so many people who are snobby to one another. They're higher and mightier than others and look down on others. We have so many churches in my hometown alone. I can name just a number. You can't really drive a mile in any direction unless you're out of the city limits into more of the country area, or at least going by the stores, and where you can't see a particular church, especially around my neighborhood, just at least 4 blocks in any direction, you're going to run across a church in any direction from me alone. And it's segregated. I mean, I'm sure anybody could say that in any, almost every area, except for certain particular, churches, and God bless them for doing it. But you don't see the unity that's what Christianity is supposed to uphold, even within its own, race or culture. It's not. There's still people who are in their own groups who are hypocrites to the other people in their own group. They're liars to the other people in their own group. They're deceivers, manipulators, users, all these things that they aren't supposed to be based on their guidelines, but they still want to be represented and classified as doing that, as being the representative of something that's supposed to do it. And honestly, in both situations, it's equally disgusting that we become a nation where the American flag for this country is just a symbol that has to be worshipped, but not abided by. That's the only word I can think of to use. We don't live up to the flag, but you have to obey the flag when somebody uses it for whatever sole purpose they use it for. And the same sense is with the cross. In today's time, in today's Christianity, nobody is trying to live by the purpose or the meaning of this Bible fully or wholly. We have, we make excuses for why we don't do this or why we don't do that, why we won't love or why we won't show, true togetherness, true unity. But they want you to, want us to live and abide by this cross. But they're not doing it themselves. It's not even being fully functioned as what it's meant to be. Now, the difference, of course, between these two, the American flag and the Christian cross, is anybody can argue that, America was birthed, it was created with supremacy-minded people. The people who quote unquote founded this land, killed off the massive amount of people who were natives, true natives to this land, before they deemed it to be America. And then, with that being said, was still built and founded on another mass amount of a people who they deemed as inferior, primitive people, except their own race, except their own culture. But they deemed everybody else as inferior beings, inferior people to them, but still decided to make this nation and said it's the land of the free. Everything, all men are created equal. But it was never, it was written words with no sole purpose. Whereas, on the other hand, with Christianity, it was made by true people who were truly giving guidelines based off of their lives or experiences, and based off of this one divine and yet human main piece in this whole story that became the living example of how we are to be, so that we can all learn to live in that same manner, in that same manner of peace, in that same manner of unity, in the same manner of love, in that same manner of togetherness, in the same manner of peace. I mean, that's just peace, love, faith. And now it's just a cross that represents prosperity. Prosperity and perks, honestly, with a far amount of obedience, with a small amount of faith, with the small amount of activeness in doing the key things that this book was created for. So I mean, while it has that same difference, in today's time, they both are showing the same outlook, which is why both are seen so both seen hypocritically. I don't know. Forgive me. This is just an idea, but I say all this to say that both needs to be discussed, both needs to be addressed, and the cross needs to really, honestly, needs to be addressed just as hard as what we've been doing for the American flag. Why do we say that this is a united front where there's so much diverse on the church, within this church, when we're all supposed to be a part of the same faith? And both is just really equally sad. And that's why I feel like I had to at least get my idea across, and I hope it made sense to anybody. And like I said, I hope that, I hope that in a later time I can fully get all my ideas together and be able to come back with a constructive article idea of what I'm trying to say right now. So that's Common Insight for today. And as always, Common Insight is to show God's stamp on everyday life. Brought to you by Epic Entertainment, which is EPIC, Everyday People in Christ. The word tells you not to wear the cross, more so, but to bear the cross. You have to live it, more so than trying to be a picture of it. Same goes with America. We really have to sit back and learn what it truly means to be American in today's time. If we are trying to be in a time to put away all the things that divided us, but we have to be willing for all people to want to unite together. And the same with Christianity, because even in the Bible times, there was still slavery, there was still oppression. I mean, the main character of the Bible was crucified because he went against the law that they represented, but yet did not live. So think about that. The main character, which is Jesus, besides the fact that he came to sacrifice himself on behalf of the rest of everybody's sins if they come to him, he was whipped, punished, mocked, and murdered solely because he stood at the forefront of showing the people who were using the technicalities of the original law to their benefit, and was telling people how to truly live as what it's supposed to mean, and not so to just claim to have this knowledge without action, without wisdom. And he was killed for that. This is Common Insight. God bless. Be easy.